and then comes out of nowhere. The ALM comes out of nowhere.
I can edit it out.
And I just bleep it out.
We are live with Richard Bell.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm all right. How are you?
So we were just talking about podcasting and like how everyone wants to do it, but everyone fails.
Everyone does fail. Because everyone goes into it thinking that they're just either funny enough or smart enough on their own to not actually plan something out.
Yeah,
and then you just get an hour and a half of just conversation that you'd get on an hour and a half long bus ride.
It's funny because it's like almost the perception that like the general public has to comedy.
Yeah.
Or like, you've obviously had this experience where someone's like, I saw the same comedian like twice in 1 week and he was doing all the same jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I didn't know he was a hack.
Yeah, and everyone like looks at the numbers that you get, and that judges how your podcast goes. It's
yeah.
Because I'm sure there's great podcasts out there with like 50 views.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's plenty of trash ones out there with 14,000 views.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's because like, in essence, it seems like it's nothing of like, oh, you just record your shit and upload it and then everyone loves it. But there's so much little shit that goes into like making sure people actually listen to it and hear it. And that is like good enough that people want to come back.
Yeah, what do you do? What are your secrets that everyone's going to steal if they watch this?
Honestly, it's like, was honestly just doing it was the first step that was like the hardest. Because like we're always our own worst critics, right? For me, it was like, I just recorded one and I thought it sucked and I released it and I got so much overwhelmingly good feedback. I was like, fuck it, I'm going all in.
Uh-oh. All right. All right, so I guess that looks pretty bad after talking about how good you are at doing this.
I'm not good at it. I'm not even good at it. It's just that comedians are so shit at doing anything that's not comedy that like it's easy to look like you have it together by having a semi-decent podcast.
You know, and that's true. And like, it's sad to say, but a lot of comedians are like very funny on stage. Yeah. And then you actually see them in person, and it's like they're not actually that funny. They're comedians, but they're not just funny people.
Yeah.
I think
it's like, oh man, I don't actually. Sorry, one second.
It's very unflattering. You're just gonna be worried about your microphone the whole show now.
There we go. No, yeah, it's
gonna
like,
be good.
It's a different medium of entertainment, podcasting. It really is, because there's the visual component for YouTube, but 90% of podcasts are listened to strictly audio. Yeah. So it's like, can your riffing be entertaining enough?
Can your voice be soothing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like a lion's purr.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I think you got good energy for it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I think in terms of a podcast, like yours is really good at. You can tell you have about 6 Red Bulls a day. Yeah, you know, you're pretty good at it. I'll give you that.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing me on here, so I can give you that minor compliment.
You were the first guest.
Yeah, I know. Look at me.
And literally the only reason I haven't had guests is because as you just saw, this was a fucking nightmare to figure out.
It took a while.
Just adding a second mic was more than my mental health could handle for the last couple of months.
You were sweating.
Yeah.
All you had to do was watch a YouTube video. I mean, you got it.
I know.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
It's, but that's the thing with everything like shut right now. I feel like most comedians are teetering on the edge of being the next guy to shoot up a massage parlor. I
mean, there was recently a stabbing. I mean, maybe who knows who that was?
I'm telling you, because comedians are mentally unwell people for the most part.
Well, yeah, you don't get into comedy because your life's going well.
No.
Like, those are the worst comedians who are like, oh, my trust fund got locked out of it. You guys know you're driving your BMW to the bank to get money out of your trust fund, and it doesn't work, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll just use my $2,000 allowance to buy chicken nuggets.
And I think there's something about having, like, hating the rest of your life so, like, you almost need to hate the rest of your life so much to have enough drive to, like, put in the work to get good enough to make it in comedy.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think like Jim Carrey put in a really good perspective. New Jim Carrey is, by the way, one of my idols. Like, old Jim Carrey was like fine. New Jim Carrey like is absolutely like one of my idols now.
Unhinged.
Yeah, because he was there was like this writer's circle episode that he was on. And everyone's like, giving like joke answers. Like, you got like Don Cheadle and all these like older versions of comedy, and then you got like Jim Carrey, who's like, I don't know, born again nut job, and then you got like Sacha Baron Cohen, and the person, whoever was hosting, asked him like, what would you be if you weren't a comedy actor? And they're all like, well, couldn't do anything. The only thing I can do is comedy.
Yeah.
And then Jim Carrey just like 5 minutes in just broke the ceiling. He was like, well, I'm broken. And I take these pieces and put them together so you cannot feel broken for 20 minutes. And everyone's bullshit answers, just like, you can see the whole time, like, he had, like, what's his name? The guy played the Fonz, like, Henry Winkler or whatever. Like, they were going for these, like, low-hanging fruit answers, and you could just see, like, once Jim Carrey said that, it became the Jim Carrey show. Because everyone's answers were so, like, manufactured.
Well, he's always been that way. Like, apparently when he was in elementary school, he would perform for his class at the end of every day, and it was like, Jim, if you don't behave, you don't get to perform at the end of the class for everyone. Like he was always fucking on. And that, like, I have things to say and show, and fucking, he's always been an entertainer, like, to his core.
And he's what was it? I think he did comedy for the first time once, and he bombed. He didn't do anything for 2 years comedy wise.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he's like, and he's now, look at him, he's painting or whatever the fuck he does in that garage with his Unabomber beard. Like, I don't know. He should have a podcast.
He really should. I mean, but those kind of legacy guys, they've got so much money and so much going on. They don't need to work. Like, what the podcast? Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, it came out in 6 years ago. Like, it got big, and they're like, what? When's my next movie role? Fuck off. What?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, I gotta talk to myself as the universe.
Yeah, it'd be like trying to get Donald Trump on TikTok. You'd be like, what? What are you talking about?
You know, he's making his own fucking social media platform.
Really? Yeah, amazing. Dude, I miss Trump so much.
Man,
I miss him so much.
It was a good era. It's a bummer that, you know, I think, like, the whole COVID thing was like a cover because he was sick of people going on stage and making jokes about him. So he's like, get off the stage.
Well, COVID ended Trump. He would have won a second term, no problem, if it weren't for COVID.
Yeah, which is horrifying. But I mean, like, the material that we're missing out on, like...
No. I always say, like... It's not that Donald Trump was so good. It's that the Democrats were so bad that someone like Trump could step in and be a better option for lots of people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was the better option, but you have to be grossly incompetent for people to look at your party and this fucking crazy billionaire who's like fucking was like the star of a reality TV show. I'd be like, yeah, that guy. Yeah, fuck it, that guy.
It worked well with Reagan, right? He was like, from my understanding, he was like an actor or something like that. So they're like, yeah, let's try this. But I mean, I'm not smart enough to really understand like the finer lines of politics. But I remember when he was first like kind of going up and going at it, I was like, oh, this would be funny. Like, give him a shot. And then it turned to be not funny almost right away. He's just like, oh, sweet, I'm here. Let's be horrifying.
Because, it was like, all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is possible. Like, this guy could actually be the leader of the free world. Yeah. And once that ball got rolling, there's no pulling it back.
No, and he gave him such a lead, too. Like, it was like, he's going to be it. Like, I remember being in Halifax when he was voted in.
Yeah.
And there was this thing called the Big Sing.
Yeah.
One of the bars that got shut down because it was one of the comedy shows actually shut it down.
Yeah,
because there was a big complaint in the LGBTQ community about one of the guys hosting it. So they had their last big sing, and, you know, Trump got voted in. It was the saddest bar on the planet because like the big sing would echo through like downtown, and it was just wails of pain and confusion. But I thought it was really funny, which is the problem.
but that's the thing. As a comedian, you don't want to be that emotionally invested, or else how can you accurately make it funny?
Yeah, exactly.
Because at a certain point, I'm sure you've seen this. Some people, it's like, this isn't funny. This is propaganda. That's not a joke or a premise or a punchline. You are now just an activist.
Yeah.
And you're not a good comic or a good activist, and it just equals like a really sad situation for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I always look at everything like it's going to be temporary.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how fucking bad it is, like, just fucking weed out something funny in it. Like, there's no real good or bad anymore. Like, we're at a point where everything's so out in the open. It's just like, just find a twist. Like, find one little, like, you know, either like a pun you can make out of it, and then that whole drastic situation was worth it.
Yeah, I think so. I think the material we got out of Trump was well worth the 4 years.
You know, we missed out on Bush, right? Because we were too young. We couldn't get that. Like,
true.
I've got this idea that I'm gonna do for my next like comedy project that isn't like purely stand up. Is I'm gonna go back and do all the jokes I wish I could have made throw out the like fresh takes on jokes.
Oh, that's gonna have a good audience with like the 40+
I
demo.
hope so, yeah, because they love YouTube.
Yeah, we know they're super internet savvy.
Yeah, they're so good.
I think you should definitely do it on TikTok.
They're the ones who share most of the stuff on like Facebook and shit.
That's
so
true.
Why wouldn't you hit them with that? They're just looking. They're just there, fucking looking for links to share.
I didn't even
old
know
bastards.
people in their 40s knew what podcasts were, but apparently they do because a bunch of them sent them to my mother last week. One of my podcasts, I shat on another family member, thinking she'd never hear it. Of course, someone goes through my fucking catalog and sends it to this family member who then sends it to my mom. And I told my mom a million times, don't listen to the podcast. It's not for you. You are not the demographic I'm trying to attract. You won't like it, I promise. Then I get a call yesterday like, listen to your podcast, I'm very disappointed. It's like, fuck!
Really?
Yeah.
Did she see how many likes you had? Does that not
Well,
mean anything
that's
to
actually
40-year-olds?
how the conversation started, because we were talking and it was fine. And I was like, Mom, you'd be so proud. One of my videos got like 14,000 views. She's like, yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about this. I waited a week to call you because I was so angry. And I was like, oh, fuck.
That's good. I mean, if you're pissing off your parents, I mean, that's... I don't know.
How can you not?
I hope that's worth it.
I mean, I think so. But it just sucks because it's like, I didn't make this for you. You know?
Yeah.
It's for my audience, which is not Christian women in their late 40s.
Yeah. No, they shouldn't be there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I still have some of them on my Facebook, and once in a while, click the links that I post and listen to them. And
They're like, oh, I've got an hour. Fucking, oh, good.
Yeah. And it was weird because like this episode
catalog
was 5 episodes ago, so it was like, oh, they listened to my whole catalog to find this. It was just like, Jesus Christ. But I mean, listen, the people in their 40s, they're definitely onto the podcast. They're onto the internet.
They know where we're hiding now.
Yeah.
The worst part is I think they know that Facebook is kind of like their domain now. So now I've got a bunch of like older family members who are like switching over to like Instagram and stuff. And it's like remember when you're like hiding in your room when you did something bad and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hide by the toy chest or in the closet, and they keep finding your hiding spots. It's like, good lord, if they go under the bed to Snapchat, like, dude, we're all fucked.
We're all fucked.
If you start getting snaps from your mum, how quickly does that ruin that entire app?
That was
actually for sexual pictures. When you were in high school or when you were in fucking your early 20s, that's what that was for. Not for your mom to send you recipes.
Dude, absolutely.
Like, it's gonna be horrifying.
It's horrible, and that is what ruined Facebook.
Yeah,
because I can go back into my Facebook memories from like 2009, and like I'm posting some ridiculous shit that I would like never post now.
Yeah,
I can't remember something. I can't remember what I posted, but it was like about some actor or some band who was like, fuck these people, they're cunts, I hope they die. And it was like just a status, you know what I mean? It was like, dude, I would never post that now because we've been invaded by the older generation.
And that would have been hard to do because like back then the statuses started with like, Quinn Beasley is.
Yeah.
So you have to formulate the whole thing around this thing. You had to own it back in early Facebook.
Like it is your name before whatever you were posting.
Quinn Beasley is saying, fuck these guys. They're a bunch of cunts. Hope you don't see this in 10 years, Mom. It's like fucking, I don't know, family picture or something like that.
That's the thing. If I blow up big enough, I'm going to have to just scrub my fucking Facebook because I've got over a decade of bad decisions on it.
Yeah, I had my grandma message me. Well, actually, she didn't message me. She called my mom, who told my dad that there was a picture of me on Facebook from fucking like 8 or 9 years ago, where I had a cigarette in my mouth.
That's it.
And my grandma's like hot to the presses. She's like, Richie's smoking. She's like, yeah, he's a fucking 30-year-old man. They're like, no. Like, he's been smoking for a while. It's like, yeah, we know he coughs a lot.
Oh my god. It's so funny how they never go to you. They immediately go to everyone they know it will upset.
Yeah.
Are these people sociopaths? What's going on here?
I don't know. I used to have a bit about how like old people just like, you know, they're the ones who, you know, with all them fake trivia stuff and stuff like that you get on Facebook, like them quizzes about like the top 5 people who are tagged in this are the ones in your zombie apocalypse or whatever the fuck. It's like, Grandma, why are you worried about that?
Because we did that a decade ago. Yeah. And now they're on it and it's like, no, Grandma, I don't want to join your farm on Farmville. Yeah,
that's still a thing.
Like,
oh no, it's Farmville 2 now. They added fucking butternut squash or whatever the fuck. It's like, get out of here, Grandma.
Old people aren't designed for social media. Do you know what's crazy is like the phone call I got from my mom about this happened the same day that my girlfriend got a phone call from her mom being like, your aunt found your TikTok and has been sending me your TikToks till 2 a.m, very upset about what you're posting.
What did she do on
No, literally nothing controversial at all. It was just like,
just butts?
no, not even that. Just like she said
Racism.
something like, "Oh, she wanted to run her ex over with her car," like a stupid joke, right? Like stuff like that. And
Yeah.
she's like, "I'm so concerned about Alicia because like she might not be able to get a job if she, you know what I mean?" And Alicia's like, "Why the fuck am I dealing with this?" But we literally dealt with the same group of people, shitty family members, on the same day.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that hilarious?
Like there are teachers who are promoting their OnlyFans on TikTok. Like it's
Dude, I know burlesque dancers who are fucking teachers.
yeah.
How insufferable of a combo is that? Teacher and burlesque dancer.
That would be a pretty good combo. I mean, they're already in some pretty hot water now because we're finding out all these female teachers are fucking these young lads. Who,
I know.
I mean, the young lads probably don't mind, but they should, and mentally they probably do. But physically, they're like, oh man, like, yeah, I'll fuck my teacher for sure.
Yeah, they won't realize why it's a problem.
Yeah, just don't make don't make a TikTok of yourself fucking your teacher. Throw that on Snapchat unless you're right above the fucking snap from your mom asking if you're fucking okay.
But if you're a young boy and you're fucking your teacher, you put that on TikTok, that's going viral. And guess who committed an illegal act? Not you, the teacher.
Yeah, you're just profiting.
Yeah,
what a bait trap.
It's win-win for the kid.
Yeah, it's like, I fucked a 30-year-old woman. I'm 15. Yeah. And I made like $2,000.
Yeah.
For a 15-year-old.
I fail to see how this is an issue.
Yeah, look at the detail on this. Like, if I had this camera, we'd know if Bigfoot was real if I went out in the woods.
Fucking hell. Oh, man. So I want to go back to how we met doing comedy, but I really got to know you working in film.
Yeah, I hired you.
You hired me, and because we had met a few times at some shows, and I was like thinking about getting into film work because with COVID, my life was destroyed. Yeah.
It's usually a last resort, yeah.
It was, and I was like, okay, fuck, I'm finally going to go into film, but I was just like, oh, how do I get a shift? And I saw you posted in the group, and then I instantly messaged you, and you called me, and you're like, yeah, man, we'll get you on, fucking, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be an easy show.
Yeah,
Just a bunch of puppets and shit.
I signed up for 1 week of work.
Yeah,
it was like 5 days. I was like, yeah, cool. And then at the end on the Friday, you're like, all right, so you in for the next like 2 months? I was like, I guess so. And then my whole life just flipped upside down.
Yeah, it's once I hired everyone for the week, I was like, all right, well, I don't want to have to do that again. Hey guys, I know this week was great in the rain and with a glass lady bullying us the entire week.
That was so good.
But if you want the next 2 months,
do you want to tell that story?
Oh, about the glass lady?
Are you allowed? I don't know how much you're allowed to say.
I mean, as long as I don't say where she is, I'm sure we can talk about that cloven-hooved devil woman who breathes fire to make her own glass. Sure.
Yeah. So just for context, you are the ALM, the assistant location manager.
Yeah,
so
which was really tricky because during that the BLM issue.
Yes.
That happened in film because my walkie says ALM on it. I had a couple people ask me if I was like counter protesting as an all lives matter. And I was like, nah, I didn't even think of that. That's my position. So I had to like hide it in my pocket for a bit because I was sick of stupid background actors.
Dude.
Ask me about nonsense.
The first time I saw Richie ALM on paper, I thought of that and thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And the whole 2 months we were working together, I was curbing the urge to get on Channel 1 and go, Richie, all lives matter.
Oh, that would have been great. We'd have the news team over right away.
Yeah.
I was hiding my walkie when I was talking. My walkie, like I was hiding it. Yeah, because background actors are like the worst people on the planet. Firing. Fucking, they're the absolute worst critters and rascals you could ever hope to have.
I was saying at one point, like, the A-list directors and actors are so fucking nice.
Yeah.
These guys are making millions. They're world famous. Like Pete, the director, knew me on a first name basis. I'm literally the lowest person on the film set, and I'm catching attitude.
You're above background.
I'm above background, right? I'm catching attitude from fucking background.
Yeah.
Well, the guy who directed Spider-Man is like, "Good morning, Quinn," and some fucking cunt from BG is just like, "Fuck you, change my heater."
It was probably Elisif. It was Elisif, wasn't it? That old broad.
Oh, dude.
I need a personal heater in this tent that's filled with heaters. Sorry, Elisif. Get out of here.
Well, this is what was crazy. It was like they were complaining that the heaters were too close together because of like union rules dictate heaters have to be a certain distance away from each other. So when they were moved to union distance, they then complained that they were cold.
So even the thing with that too, because I was talking with them, and they're like, it has to be 4 feet or something like that away. And I was like, That's when you have it inside of a tent.
Yeah.
With sides on it so it doesn't melt the plastic. Like, you could... These things don't... Like, it's a propane... It's like a grill. Like,
yeah.
You have to have it pretty fucking close to you for you to feel anything. Yeah, stupid background, all 9 of them running around with their ice cream cones or whatever. Fucking, oh, God, I hate them.
I was, like, saying, like, oh, it's funny that this, like, A-lister is nicer to me than this background. And then I really thought about it. I'm like, it's probably easier to be a nice person when you got millions of dollars.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You get millions of dollars. You get a private car that takes you back and forth. You don't have to deal with shuttles. You have a trailer you go back to. Like, it's pretty... I mean, their job, I can only imagine the stress of having to actually... Because if they fuck up, it fucks up everything. If we fuck up, like, oh, no, we're waiting for a tent.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, no.
The dynamic there is a little bit different. So this glass lady, this was actually my first day on set, was seeing the glass lady, because you had me at Circus, which, if you don't know what Circus is, guys, it's like where all the trucks are and where the trailers are for all the actors and where the first AD or the third AD and all that hang out. My very first day on set, my job was to make sure that the crew stepped around a pole instead of stepping in front of the pole so that this woman wouldn't have a second mental breakdown. Yeah. That was my job for 15 hours.
And she I mean, she had plenty. Like, we had issues with her right from the start because there's some people that are just going to hate film.
Yeah.
So her only issue with us is that, she wanted us to not be there, which is, there's a lot of things you can fix when you're filming, but you can't just not film and be like, oh, sorry, glass lady. Like, get out of here. But yeah, she was huffing and puffing. Like, I had hired like 4 extra production assistants just to like literally surround her business to make sure nobody went in. We pressure washed her parking lot just to make her happy. And she comes back and she's like, I want $34,000 because I had to take so much blood pressure medication. She almost attacked one of her like customers. Like, she was so...
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah, she was so fed up. She's like yelling at our film liaison.
Yeah.
Like, just being super rude and just being an absolute cunt. And so she's yelling at us, and I'm like, good God, like, what do you want? Like, just trying to talk to her like a child.
Yeah.
Like, it got to the point where you had to talk to her like a child. And, her customer walks through the parking lot that we're guarding, and I think it was Bradley, was like, oh, like, thinking it's one of us. And they see, she's wearing, like, just a surgical mask. So, like, they're like, all right, she's not with us. So it goes right to the door, and then this fucking demonish fucking witch of a woman turns around and goes, what the fuck is this? Fucking who the fuck? Oh, are you with the glass? Oh, okay, come with me.
So she thought it was a crew member, but it was one of her own goddamn customers.
It was one of her own fucking customers. It took everything I could to not have the entire crew just give her 1 reviews on fucking Google reviews.
Oh, you could have decimated her.
Oh, God. Like, and, there's, you got to look at it. Like, the hardest part for me, because you got to look at everything is temporary and everything is funny.
Yeah.
And like, it's so easy to get like riled up. You can call her a cloven hoof fucking devil woman all you want to, but she's obviously got something going on.
Yeah.
Where if her reaction doesn't match what's happening, like, it's just it's nothing we're doing. It's maybe she's not getting laid enough, or her husband cheated on her. She definitely hated men.
Yeah.
Because the only liaison she was somewhat nice to was what was her name? Stephanie, or whatever her name was.
She wasn't even nice to Stephanie.
No,
because my first day I met Stephanie, and she was like, I'm so afraid of this woman. I'm so afraid. Yeah.
Oh, she just hates people that don't buy glass. Yeah. She, we had her like COVID check-in station in the back. She's like, it's frightening my employees. So we're just like, shut up, you dumb lady.
My favorite part was when she claimed that the crew
we were making faces at her. Yeah, she was going to get a lawyer involved. She was like, oh, we're making faces at her. I was like, we're wearing masks, you stupid idiot. Yeah, and the worst part was, because I had to go, she finally agreed on an amount, which was the original amount we had offered her, so I had to go run that over last Monday.
Yeah.
And bitch didn't even recognize me.
Which
is like, I didn't think would hurt as bad. I thought it was going to be like, like she was going to throw something at me and it was going to be like a nice like cherry on the top. And she fucking forgot who I was, and she wrote about me in the paper about being a silencer of concerns.
Oh my God.
I was like, you don't even remember me?
Well, here's the thing. To you, she is like the fucking nightmare you had to deal with for a week. You're probably just the 7th ALM she's yelled at that month.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the guy before the LM paid her money and she threw like a thing of pencils at him. Like, that's like after giving her like good amount of money that she threw pencils at him. I was like, good Christ. Like,
we got to remember during COVID is like everyone is kind of teetering on insanity.
Yeah, and then for them, I mean, they'd recently expanded, I think, right before COVID, and like, because a lot of the amounts that they were asking for seemed like specific bills they were behind on.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had somebody counter with like $8,325 before. It's like, that's your credit card. Like, we're not paying off your credit card, you stupid idiot.
Oh man.
But yeah, what a stooge.
Yeah, it's a weird one dealing with people like that because you got to be professional, but at the same time, the comic in you probably just wants to be like deal with her like a heckler.
It hurts.
Like, shut the fuck up.
It hurts so bad. Like I started to kind of lose it towards the end. I was just getting so fatigued. Like, we need to turn these soccer lights off, and I'm just like, good fucking luck. Like, that is this active soccer field. We cannot do that.
I was almost thinking like, how could anyone who's not a comedian do this fucking job that you were doing? Because, like, it makes it easier when you're going through this to be able to just find the funny.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who can't naturally do that, that job has got to drive you into the ground.
Yeah, it's a lot of people who move up in location specifically, like it's, it can wear on you. Like it's a very stressful job. And I think there's enough people who are just like, I don't think you necessarily have to be a comedian. There's just some people who are just like, they're harder to shake.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that kind of stay up because the only thing I had, like I didn't have any experience being an ALM.
Yeah.
I just had to kind of go with my strengths and it just happened to.
That's what I wanted to talk about. How did you go from being a PA to like 2 years holding a position that usually takes people like a decade to get to?
I sucked a lot of dicks.
Yeah.
No, I was a workhorse. Like I'd take the crappy jobs that nobody wanted. Like I was a van driver for a lot of movies of the week. And then I'd actually met the prep ALM that we'd started the show with like a few years ago doing a crappy music video.
Yeah.
And then he'd call me one day because they needed a TAL, which is a trainee assistant locations manager for the last season of Supernatural.
Yeah.
And I think just, they were looking, and because my last name's Bell, and when he's looking through his Facebook contacts, he's like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
I come up pretty early.
Yeah.
So I got that. And just, with film, it's like so easy just to like find a team that you like to work with. And especially if they're, they're constantly busy as well.
Yeah.
So you just move up. Like a lot of people, it does take a while to get up to an ALM, not to like toot my own horn, but yeah, I did it super quick. And it's going to come with a lot of mistakes. Like the location manager is definitely, taking a big risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's really no secret. It's the industry that's like created the term "fake it till you make it."
Yes, absolutely.
You just literally just walk around like you know what you're doing. Like for the first 3 weeks, I had no idea every time we go there, the only thing I was worried about, because they kept running the days so late, I was like, I got to get these guys home so they could, fucking not have just 4 hours of sleep for 2 weeks. And then, ended up me wrapping you guys before I should have.
Yeah.
So that way I was just, I had one of the transport guys who's super nice dude. I was at Circus at like 1 o'clock in the morning. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just rapping Circus. He goes, who are you? I was like, I'm the assistant locations manager.
Yeah.
And he goes, I've been doing this for 23 years.
Yeah.
And I've never seen an ALM doing garbage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm new.
Yeah. I think that was Mike the Teamster, because I talked to him the next morning and he was like, dude, Richie like did garbages. And he said this, I've been in this business for like over 2 decades. I've never seen an ALM do the fucking garbages.
Yeah, you should have seen them when I was doing Dirt Act. They're like, what the fuck? You have people to do this? And I was like, yeah, but they're busy right now. Like,
yeah.
It's you can't. Well, I think a lot of people hide behind their title quite a bit, and I've learned from ALMs that I've had in the past what I like and what I don't like. And I never liked the ALM who would just kind of show up in the morning, delegate, micromanage, disappear for hours, come back and just micromanage.
Yeah.
So for me, like my only asset was you guys.
Yeah.
So my job was, make sure you guys are happy, make sure you guys are, healthy as you can be.
Yeah.
And to give you room to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because that's like, a mistake is something you can fix.
Yeah.
Micromanaging is something that's just, I would have lost you guys after 2 weeks if I was like, this garbage can needs to be changed. We need to dump them over. It's like, nah, just fucking big picture stuff. We'll focus on the small stuff later.
Absolutely. And you had a solid enough crew in place that, like, I feel like a mistake would only get to you if it was a big fuck up.
Yeah. I rarely, like, except for the beginning of the day when it was like the fucking Richie highway. It's like, Richie go to, like fucking, which is like on the walkie. You go to channel 2 to privately chat with me to ask me some ridiculous fucking request.
And you know it's not private. Everyone
Motherfucker goes right
to
over.
2.
And it's like, and it's, at the beginning of the day, that'd be my busiest time. And then throughout the day, it was literally just stuff that an ALM had to deal with. Like if they're asking for, lights to be turned off and stuff like that. Like, it made it so much easier because, like, especially once you start losing your prep ALMs who are supposed to be at the new locations kind of dealing with stuff, and you've got to go over and you've got to deal with it as well as dealing with setting and going
so
back.
you were doing like 3 people's jobs at once.
I would say 2. I mean, there are some shows where that's the ALM's job. But it's usually like on like kind of lower budget ones where they can't afford to hire a prep ALM and an ALM and a TAL and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the last month was just 20-hour days back to back. Like, I've never smoked so many goddamn cigarettes in my life.
Well, you even got me back on cigarettes.
Well, the fucking P&E wouldn't let you vape because they were worried it was weed. And then the fucking security guard found your vape. He's like, hey, this is Quinn's. I don't know what it is. I was like, it's his razor. Yeah. I keep telling him to stop shaving at work. It's freaking people out. I'll give it back to him.
Well, because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna vape. I'm just gonna smoke cigarettes. So I was standing at that gate smoking cigarettes, right? But I left my vape there, and you came up to me like, I told you to stop vaping. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't vape all day. And then you're like, calm down. I know you weren't because I convinced the guy standing next to you that it was an electric razor.
Yeah, it was so funny to be able to turn on the dad voice sometimes. It's just the complete contrast of like just happy-go-lucky and then the dad voice. Because one of our fucking loser PAs, I can call one of our other PA, a little lady on like channel 1, which is like for everybody.
Oh, this is great because I told this story in the last podcast, so now we got it for the.
I was so like it just immediate like fuming. So I brought him to channel 2 and I was like, "If you say that again, you're fired." Like back to 1. What the fuck is wrong with you,
dude?
Like
that made the day of every single person in the locations department.
I hope so. It made my day
because we
too.
all hated him. Hate him. It's current so fucking much that to have that happen so publicly was amazing.
Because everyone goes to show. It wasn't even just us that heard. It was the ADs. It was like the grips if they were on. Everyone on channel 1 because they could hear my tone. Like I was hearing it from like the LX department. Like, oh, you boomed at him.
Yeah.
And I was like.
Well, an LX guy commented on my last podcast being like, dude, I saw all that shit go down.
The funniest part is that the person who did this is probably watching the podcast up until about 20 seconds ago, and he just realized with that one, he's like, oh, it's me. and if he's still here to that point, I want to assure you it is 100% you.
Yeah, and you suck. I told you that he was watching it the other day while I was at work, right? Did I tell you this?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I fucking... So the guy I shared on my last podcast, I ended up working with him on the next show I was on, but it happened like on accident. Like the ALM called me, was like, hey, I need you to be shoot crew for a day or two. And I was like, well, I like you, so I'll do it. I ended up working with this guy who I have publicly shat on for 40 minutes straight. And I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone on this crew about my podcast because I want to be able to keep doing it. But so many people from Lost Ollie came onto this that it spread anyway. So I come into work and Kim's showing everyone my podcast. And I'm sitting next to this guy and I hear my voice coming from his phone. I was like, oh no. And I turn over and he's watching it on his phone. And I was like, yes. But then he got bored and switched it off. And I was like, fuck.
Hey, he's got the attention span of a fly. We should have done this earlier.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that he heard it.
I mean,
that's the thing about film too. Like it is like an insidious like gossip pit of nonsense.
Oh yeah.
Like our show, like it was making waves with our like, how long our camera days were.
Yeah.
It was like making like I was getting calls from other ALMs who were like, dude, how have you not quit yet?
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm the last one standing. Like this is like a point of pride now. Like I would have dragged myself to the dirt just to hear them say rap and then they broke a camera.
But you're a special kind of breed because I remember, I'll never forget the day you drove me home when I lost my keys. And I
forgot you did that. Yeah.
I was so bagged and exhausted at the end of the day, and I was so shocked by the fact that you offered to drive me home. And when I turned up the next day and realized you'd already been there like 2 hours before I started, I was like, this guy's a fucking animal.
Did you end up finding your keys?
I did. They were underneath my vehicle.
Were they?
Yeah. So like the hours I spent looking on set were useless.
Oh man, we were trudging through like this soaking wet like school field, like underneath like dirty pieces of plywood.
The worst part is I found them as the tow truck was pulling up to Crew Park to tow my vehicle away, because it was like, I can't find them. We have to be out of this parking lot at midnight. Guess I'm just getting this towed to my house, and then I'll fucking deal with the keys later. And literally, as the tow truck was pulling up, I found them like, hey, bro, don't need you. Thanks.
Just go away.
Yeah. Thank God it was an employee and not like an independent contractor, because he was like, great, see ya, and didn't charge me.
Oh, is it one of our transport guys?
No, it was like I called a company to do it, but the guy who I called was an employee of the company. So he got paid regardless and didn't give a fuck.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't an independent contractor who would have been pissed that it was like, hey, I know. Like, I would have paid him anyways, but he was just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, see you later.
That's dope. Well, yeah, I'm glad that worked out. And then someone else lost their keys at some point. And I was like, this show is just going to kill us all. Like, we had poor van driver got so chafed he couldn't walk on the first day because we were just out in the rain all day moving to like 5 different locations around this fucking town to get shot because they're stupid.
Let's not forget Matt losing his keys while the van was in shot.
The funniest part about that, at least for me, like I had to do all this planning to make sure that lot was clear for just that specific shot. That everything was clear, like we had coned it the crap out, had people like 2 days beforehand getting used to parking somewhere else just to make sure that no one parked there. The fucking guy loses his keys right in shot, and it's this mad panic, about 8 of us looking around. We got Ginger cleaning out his van just for fun, finding corn chips and stuff. Poor guy keeps apologizing to me. I'm just chuckling, looking around his van. I'm like, what am I supposed to do, get mad about this? Yeah, and it was inside of a vest in the back. The Connexin guy, or the COVID guy who dealt with our tracking devices, found it.
Well, that's what was so funny to me about that situation, because we have 5 of us who are in probably our 16th hour on set.
Yeah.
And we've done like 6-day weeks the last 2 weeks. We're zombies at this point looking for the keys. And the guy who just started work like an hour ago just walks in and is like, here they are.
Hey, he hops in the back like a smug bastard and goes, oh yeah, they were inside this high-vis vest that was rolled up in the back of the shelf. Like, why the fuck were you looking in the back? Did you put it there?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
What was crazy is we were all such zombie mode. I think we would have looked forever. Just like, we were like looking in the same spots. We just needed a fresh brain.
Yeah, we were empty and tense, like shaking them out like a bunch of idiots. And then we had Randy come up with this truck to like tow it out. And it's like, how are we going to steer this, Randy? Like, it's off. Like, it's good. We're going to break the van for,
I was talking to Matt, and he was like, this is why I make sure I'm always great at my job, because like I don't fuck up often, but when I do, it's big.
When he does, it's hilarious.
And I need the leeway of being amazing the rest of the time to get away with that one big fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good policy to have.
That's all you got to do, man. Like a lot of people keep their jobs, but not because they're great at it, because in film where you're working these 15-hour days, like you could be like subpar at your job. As long as you're pleasant and you do the bare minimum, but you're pleasant to work with, you'll keep getting hired.
Yeah.
But Matt, he's a monster.
Oh, he's the best.
He's constantly calling me about like gear. Like he's so on the gear that I felt bad times. Like, dude, I don't give a fuck right now. Like, it's just like, but he's just so in it. You don't want to discourage him from like keeping track of the gear. I was like, bro, like, I hired you to do it. Like, I don't want to fucking talk about tents right now, man.
Yeah.
What are you gonna? Oh, we're gonna do a slush run. Okay. Like,
the fake it till you make it thing that you said is so on point, because like I felt like that was the best show I could have been on for my first show, because I learned how to like get shit done in all the aspects of the jobs of location. So when I was on the next show and it was a shit show, I immediately knew how to just take charge.
You're in panic mode already.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Which is beautiful.
Like my first day on set, I didn't have a single lockup, because all I was doing was playing defense for locations. Like it was just like, oh no, there's no one stationed at catering for garbage and it's lunchtime. Guess that's my job now. Oh, there's no sides for Crafty. I'm driving to the studio to go pick them up. Oh, this has, you know what I mean? It was like I was just literally busy.
You're Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah, from beginning to end, which I liked doing, but it was also like, none of this is my job.
Yep.
What the fuck is going on here? And then at the end of the day, like another PA calls me, hey, I don't know how to load the slush truck, but you seem to know what's going on. I was like, don't worry, I got you. I march over, I call Nathan, I'm like, bro, you need to tell me right fucking now how to pack a slush truck, because I don't know what I'm doing, but neither do these people, but I can fake it. And immediately he sent me photos, and I hopped in the slush, and we loaded it perfectly.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I remember there was one show I was working on. It was last summer. I was the van driver, the COVID department, and Crafty.
Oh.
And then I somehow became the ALM at some point. But yeah, it was up in Kelowna, so I'd have to drive the van up, set everything out. It was me and like 2 other PAs.
Oh, Jesus.
So drive up, set the fan up, take everything out of the van, pop up all the tents, because I was there like an hour and a half first. At the end of every day, you gather everything, you put all the Crafty in there, and then you got to take the garbage, because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's no dumpsters.
Yeah.
Take the garbage, throw it on top of everything, hope it doesn't leak onto the food that we're supposed to eat.
Oh,
in the morning, wake up 3 hours before call, drive like 45 minutes to the dump everything out, come back, go set up again. We're doing like 3 location moves in a day.
Was this an MOW or was this?
No, it was a Neil Blomkamp like self-funded movie. The guy who did District 9.
Yeah.
So he self-funded this movie.
Oh fuck
and
yeah.
It was MOW style, but it was so laid back. Like, it was the funnest time I ever had. Like,
Great.
Get into the van. It's like 42 degrees. The guy's warning us about like rattlesnakes and wolves. And I was like, fucking take me. Like, just.
I've noticed this. I could be wrong on this, but it seems like it doesn't really matter. Like all the way from MOW to like $100 million feature films. That's just always a shit show.
It's usually pretty chaotic. There's a lot of stuff that they do on the fly. Yeah, it gets less chaotic the higher up you go. Because when there's a lot of money behind
shit rolls
it,
downhill.
Exactly, because like normally, like our grip team was only like 4 or 5 grips on like a really well funded one. There's way more grips, so stuff's just flying in. You got people at the truck, you got people running, you got your set crew.
Is that why they were so grumpy?
I would say like if I was a grip on that one, like that was mad dogging them.
Yeah.
Like that was a crazy, like they had to unload their entire truck just to have it close by. One guy run out. Like it's fatiguing to be a grip, but when there's only like 4 or 5 of you on a $20 million show.
Those guys were
you
always
just feel
busy.
You must just feel jilted.
Yeah.
Like it's just be like, why the hell? Because like the COVID team had like, some days like 28 people.
Oh,
well, maybe not that much, but that's what everyone was griping about.
A lot. And they didn't do much. They were lovely, but they didn't do much.
They were good. I mean, in terms of COVID teams I've worked for, I found it weird that they would stay in the check-in tent all day.
Yeah.
After like 4 or 5 hours after call, like you probably get out of there.
I was thinking, I didn't envy them because like how rough would it be to be a department where the name of your department is a disease that just destroyed the entire world? It's kind of hard for you to not be hated.
They're the new locations. Like for locations now, like we're pretty sweet. But now, like, that used to be how people would talk to locations some of the times.
I could see that. Well, the people on the COVID team that had locations experience were all so fucking solid.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them are now on shows where they're, like, doing sound or LX.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're new to COVID, like, you're not going from COVID to LX.
Yeah, and it's nice to get on a COVID shift because, it's 12 hours and that's all you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's beautiful. Like we were doing 16, 17 hours most days, which is like unheard of for like a show that big.
Really?
Like we were just,
that's what I'm doing on Midnight Club right now. It's like
but that show's being run like a donkey.
Every department's unhappy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even from the top on that one. It just seems like the ground management on that one's just kind of running loose.
Yeah, it's not good.
Which happens when you get a lot of like stage days. Like it's easy to kind of lay back and like you're like, all right, we're in stage. What can go wrong? And then everything goes wrong day one.
Exactly. Because I was with them in studio one day, and that was a bit of a shit show. But when we were on location the next day, was that a shit show? It was like it went from like 0 to 100 because now it's like we have to like drive places to get things we need. Also, locations is in charge of all the COVID gear. All the COVID gear locations is in charge of. So like the hand sanitizer thing, all of that is now us. and there's like 3 of us.
I feel like there's going to be like 4 people who listen to this podcast who are going to understand any of the last 15 minutes of this.
Maybe.
I think they're going to be like, what the fuck?
But I have strategically based previous episodes on explaining all of the film lingo so that I could just rant about this and have people get it if they're an old listener.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. So like I broke down.
You've done this before.
I was
going to say, like, we'd have people at the beginning when we're talking about relatable stuff, and now these specific grievances.
Well, I think
you're going to lose some people.
I think most people are like really interested in the dynamics of film.
In the behind the scenes of
film.
Because
no one knows, actually. So I actually think it's a good topic because you watch a movie, no one's thinking about like who takes out the fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And the drama between the people taking out the garbage and the COVID. You know what I mean? Like, I do think people find it interesting.
Yeah, I just hope you don't get to the point of every other PA I've ever met who's like, I want to do a movie about like the life of a PA. The only good one of those I heard, I can't remember who said it, but his idea was to do a movie as like almost like a documentary about a bunch of PAs, like the locations team, on a murder mystery show.
Yeah.
But murders are actually happening on set.
That's awesome.
And it's like the PA's lockups that they're trying to like investigate like where it happened. I was like, that's a pretty good one.
That's a good premise.
But every other one, it's like The Office, but locations. Like, get fuck
off.
Like, no one wants to watch. It's like, all right, here's Jonathan here, 14th hour by generator. How you feeling, Jonathan?
Oh, pretty good. I got a spell off. I got a couple sandwiches over there. The bathroom's there, so that's fine. Yeah, pretty good day. It's a bit rainy earlier, but we're here 15 hours. That was like 7 hours ago. Anyway,
like, it's just like, fuck off. Who actually wants to care about that?
The funny thing about locations, I could be wrong, so I would ask you your view on this. Like, I'm in that group that talks about like for that people use to get work for locations, and you have a lot of people in there just bitching over and over again about like the treatment of PAs and locations. And some people will be like, I've been a PA for 9 years and like this is all unacceptable. And my first thought is like, why the fuck are you still a PA after 9 years? Because I view PAing, it's like a generous foot in the door.
That's what it is.
To a million other departments and a million other places that are better. So it should be shit. It's where you find out if you are the type of person that can stand a 17-hour day on set, get treated like shit, and still soldier on. So if you're like 9 years in, obviously you're unhappy because you were supposed to network and move up and make connections. Like Bradley's already moving up to LX. I've already got my foot in the door with special effects. You know what I mean? Like off of one show. So when I'm like, what, you've been in this business for 9 years and you're still a PA? That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, and there are some people I think that just honestly just like being a PA because you have a bit more control over your schedule. Like you can just take days here and there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to commit to a whole show like I force you guys to commit. But I mean, there are some people, it's just, it could be a networking issue. It could be, maybe they're not the most personable person. And, there's a lot of people who are, I ruffled a few feathers when I was a talent Supernatural. And, there's people who are like PAs under me. And like not even under me, but just on different shows, being like, "How the fuck do you get on the fucking last season of Supernatural, you son of a bitch?"
Yeah,
and it's like I don't know. I showed up.
Yeah,
like
show up with a good attitude.
Yeah, you just like I was always a guy like I used to get hired I got hired for my longest stint during the winter because like out here they can't deal with snow at all.
No.
So I got a call. It was for a show called The Man in the High Castle.
Yeah.
And we were down at Rogers Sugar doing this prep, and it got canceled because of snow. So I went home, and I get a call like 8 o'clock the next morning being like, "Hey, Richie, you're from the East Coast?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Do you know how to use a snow blower?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like fucking 5 centimeters on the ground. I was like, "Yeah, I know how to use a snowblower." Like, cool. Can you come to Bridge Studios? We're gonna fucking hire you as our snow guy.
Yeah.
So for 3 weeks, my job was to shovel the lightest bit of snow.
That's amazing.
And that's all I did all day.
Yeah.
Just like go around with like the ice salt and stuff like that, being like, "Ooh, like watch your step. It's gonna get slippery."
Dude, for the film industry, it's like a fucking pirate ship.
Yeah.
Right? Like
that's a really good, it is a fucking pirate ship.
It really is, yeah.
Like,
one of the grips was giving me shit once, and I was like, "Oh, shut up! You're all you grips are a bunch of fat, dirty pirates." And he burst out laughing, and so did one of the ADs, and instantly I was in with them just by shitting on him. And like, we really are. It's like it's just like a disorganized, chaotic mess, and everyone just jumps in and just fucking gets it done.
Yeah, everyone has a loose idea of what everyone else needs to do.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of jumbles itself together. It's very interesting, especially like in the pre-planning phase for film, like doing all these like surveys and stuff like that, trying to figure out where everything goes, and then just getting there and realizing that they're not even going close to what the plan was. You're like, oh, okay, cool. that was a waste of a Sunday.
But that's what you're good at, right? Is solving those situations on the fly and not getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, half the time you can just turn a blind eye.
Yeah,
like it just like, you see them like I was driving in once and I saw the producer like, with the B cam guy, the splinter unit guy, like this, taking angles on a sidewalk. And I just pulled over. I was like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, you didn't see anything. Wait, are we allowed to be here? It's like, I don't care. I got enough stuff to worry about today. You guys videotape the sidewalk.
I'm excited now to watch it and be like, oh, that's the shot they didn't have a permit for.
Yeah, there's gonna be a few of them.
Yeah, fucking.
I mean, not necessarily have a permit for, but like not like there was some of them like when we were in like the first city we were in where they were doing like this splinter unit where they're putting posters up.
Yeah.
And, there's some of the businesses where it's like we tried to contact them, but they weren't open.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, let's be quick.
Yeah.
It's like, good God. Like,
fuck. I kind of love that because there's so much money poured into it. You'd think it'd be a tighter run operation, but it kind of... Does it work better that it's just so on the fly?
Some of the times, yeah. Like, a lot of times, like, guerrilla filming is what they call it. It's very beneficial because they'll have, like, the rough idea of what they want for their big chunk to be.
Yeah.
And then you have the creatives kind of go around and be like, oh, this would look cool. This would look cool.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what my job is on the ground. Is so, for all these little changes and all these big issues that come up,
yeah,
that I have to deal with them. Like, I had to go find locations sometimes the day of film.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
they're just like, hey, we need this, this, and this. I'm like,
did you say they wanted like a river, like the day before?
Yeah, they wanted a river that doesn't exist.
This hot shot from producer from LA that doesn't know about. Like, find me a river, build me a river.
And he was great. Like, because we're in a park, right? He's like, yeah, there must be a river around. So the LM goes out and looks for one. He goes, yeah, there's no river. And I go out, like, yeah, definitely no river. And they're like, so where's this river? It's like, it doesn't exist. Like, it's going to be a completely separate application because you're going to have to bomb yourself deep in the bush with a generator just to get a shot of them coming out of the water. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
So they were like, a lot of time money was a big deterrent.
Yeah. They're like, wait, how much? Never mind. Fuck that.
Yeah. But it was all in all, like, I would say, like, it was a pretty positive. Like, everyone on the team was great. Like, even like the producers were great. The PM was great. Everyone just kind of went in. We had a lot of people that were like, it was their first time in their positions, kind of like myself.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, I think it went like pretty smooth. There was never like a big like production halting issue.
Yeah.
Which you'd expect to see at least for a road show. Like, it should be at least, once every couple of weeks. They're like, oh, fuck, we can't do this because of this. And it's like, everything kind of worked out for us.
Yeah.
Which was mind-blowing, to be honest.
I mean, multiple people told me, like, you lucked out so much on this being your first show because, like, this crew is so fucking nice, so considerate. Everyone is good at their jobs, but they're not an asshole about it.
Yeah.
Like, usually, like it's not like this.
I've worked on some MOWs. One of them was, oh man, this ALM, I wish I could name him, but I'd get a grievance so goddamn fast put against me. I quit on him, and it almost got into like a shoving match, where he was one of these guys, one of these pricks, he'd show up in the morning, fucking bark at everybody, come back, like 4 hours later, kick PAs out of their chairs so he could eat his lunch in them.
Fuck.
And so I told him to get fucked one day. He was like, we need these 20 propane tanks brought over to here. He looks like a fucking shitty Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need these 20 propane tanks, which you can't legally carry in the truck because it's, it's an enclosed space.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact I smoke, so fucking I'm just going to explode.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, I can't. That's illegal. I'm not going to do that. And he goes, you have to do it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I quit.
Were you a PA at this time?
I was the van driver.
You were the van driver, okay.
So I was like, I quit.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I need a week notice for a van driver to quit. And I was like, no, you don't. I'm a day call, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
And then he shoved me, and it was just like, I cocked my arm back, and I was about 2 seconds away, and I was like, I'm going to put a complaint to the DGC.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
And then, lo and behold, like a year or so later, we get this notification for filming for the house I was living at in Strathcona for this like little Quibi or whatever that app is called.
Yeah.
Like we had like Dave Franco in the house. We had Ice Cube.
Nathan told me about this.
Yeah, we had Ice Cube. So yeah, I hired Nathan to
Yeah.
guard my house because I fired one of their prep PAs for being a bitch. But we had Ice Cube's son like hotbox our bathroom.
Amazing.
And like my other roommates were like, "Oh God, what do we do?" I was like, "Can we go in?" That's a pretty dope story. Like
That's
Ice Cube's
great.
kid just smoked a big old joint and then fell on my roommate's bed, which was the green room, so hard that he broke it.
Dude, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, how did your house end up being the shooting location?
Because the house we were living at's like a historic property, and it's got a porch. It's on a corner, so like it was filmed in like the Twilight Zone and a few other shows. Like it's on a list of a lot of scouts who have been there before. So you
okay.
kind of get recycled over and over again.
Yeah.
But the ALM on this one was this fucking guy. So when I signed the contract, I said he's not allowed in the house. So
Dude, that is an amazing
Yeah.
turn of power
Yeah.
and a middle finger.
So I said he's not allowed in the house. So which pretty much like cuts his balls off. He can't like do his job now. So he's walking around like a vampire, and I catch him trying to do the same shit to his van driver that he was doing to me. So I start like ripping propane tanks out of the truck and putting them in the yard, being like, "You can come grab these. Like you can take 4. You just have to do a few trips." And then comes out of nowhere. The ALM comes out of nowhere.
I can edit it out.
And I just bleep it out. So he comes out of nowhere and starts barking in this like stupidly British accent. So for about 10 minutes, I followed him up the street calling him dog shit. And I was just like, I was asking him to push me again. The whole team was from the show we were working on before, which is Louder Milk.
Yeah.
And so like the LX guys were the same, the grips were the same. And I think they were waiting for that to happen on Louder Milk.
Yeah.
So like this guy, like it got to the point where I feel bad about it, but like he was trying to like escape in like a shuttle, and I just held the shuttle door open and just proceeded to tell him why he's dog shit. And it's like, it felt like in the heat of the moment, like, like a minute or something like that. I go over to my buddy who was working on the show, and he's like, "You just yelled at him for like 15 minutes. And I was like, "Oh, okay." I felt pretty good. It's like, he deserved it. But, like, I just didn't think you were going to go that long. And he was like, you called him dog shit like 37 times. And I was like,
there any fallout for this at all?
No.
None.
No.
Wow.
There's some people in the union that they're aware of. You know what I mean? They pay their dues, but they are, like, aware of them. And I think he's one of them. So I put in the complaint saying, hey, so here's what happened. He was trying to do some illegal shit with propane tanks. I may or may not have called him dog shit 37 times over the course of 15 minutes. But, and then I'm like, and I actually, like, this is funny because if they do happen to listen to this will be soon. I got a free TV out of it. Because when they move all the stuff out of the house, they have to bring it back in, right?
Yeah.
Our TV, the volume never worked on it. So when they brought it back, I was like, what the fuck, guys? The volume doesn't work. They're like, what? I was like, yeah, the volume doesn't work on this. So they bought me like a new like 55-inch like fucking LG like smart TV.
Wow.
With like a wall mount and everything. It was like, because it was only like a 22-inch like fucking little shitty TV.
That's fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
So like the LM who I was actually like really close with was like, here you go, fucking sorry about.
For your troubles.
Yeah, sorry about dickhead. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
don't worry about it. And they tried to like recruit me, and I was like, nah, dude, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
So what was your position on that show if it was your house?
I was the liaison.
You were the lady. Okay, that's what I figured.
So when they initially came through, like, because a lot of times they're not used to actually dealing with film people in the house. I think especially this crew wasn't, because they came in with such a low ball offer.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you're paying us $300 a day.
Yeah.
And then while we're here, you're paying us liaison fee of $45 an hour.
Yeah.
And they're like, because they've already scouted it. They're already going to film there. Like,
yeah, they've already invested money into it.
I know your locations team is dog shit. So I'm taking a lot of money because there is going to be a lot of damage to that. I was like, they left a fake wall.
Oh my god!
Like,
dude, film to at the highest level. It's always such a shit
it's
show.
Such a fucking nutty thing. But yeah, we ended up getting like, I think like I was the least paid person. I think I was right before Christmas too, so I got like an extra like it was like $2,700.
Yeah.
Initially they were offering like $100 a day, and I was like,
my God.
Get fucked. Like, get out of here with that $100 a day, and I gotta go find a fucking like Airbnb. Get out of here.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a question for you. I just want to see how much longer I got on this. Okay, we're good. I have a question for you. because we've documented on this podcast previously this one particular guy I'm working with on that club.
The same guy. Yeah,
we'll
go
who
back
sucks,
there.
right?
Yeah.
So for the listeners, I laid out how, because my last podcast was about confrontation when it's good and when it's bad. And I want your opinion on this as an ALM, because I had to work with this guy again.
What about as a person? Let's do I'm not just an ALM, everybody.
I know you're more than that, but
I eat cinnamon buns just like every other person.
You've got more insight into how the dynamics of a set work. Because I got to a point where I was like, okay, I cannot work with this guy for one more day because he's making the locations department look so bad that I think my reputation would be better off if I walked up to the first AD and said, hey, go fuck yourself, than if I were to stay on this show another day. That's how bad it was. But I was like, if I go and confront this employee, he's technically my key, I'm now causing issues on set. So I didn't confront him and instead just went to my ALM and said, hey, I can't work with this guy. And he was just like, yeah, no problem. And then boom, it was solved. Do you think it would have been better for me to confront him directly, or was that the right move to just go to the ALM and be like, hey, I can't do this?
I think it would have been funnier if you had confronted him directly. I think that would have been... knowing this guy, like, he would not have known what to do.
No.
He would have just shriveled up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, you did the right thing, because it's like any other kind of workplace, right? If you're having like an issue with your immediate supervisor, you go to their supervisor to complain about them.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
Because I'm not used to that world. I'm used to like, hey, fuck you. You know, like that's what I'm used to.
Yeah, you're a kid of the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think it fucks him, because if I confront him, he can go to his boss and be like, oh, Quinn is causing issues on set. But if I skip him and just go straight to the top, it's like, especially after 2 days of me working my ass off, they know I'm a hardworking, competent person. They want to keep me. And then I say, sorry, I can't keep doing it because this guy sucks. I think that fucks him way harder than me confronting him directly.
Yeah, I'd say you fucked him pretty good.
Good.
If that's what you were going for.
Yes.
Also, what a nice little resume tag. I'm such a hard worker for 2 days. Look at me. They know.
Yeah,
they know. They message me.
Yeah, that's right.
They sent me a Facebook message saying, man.
Well, it was
I
like,
wish you were still here.
I know the harder I work, the worse I'm going to make him look. So that was a lot of the incentive.
Yeah.
It was just like, if I fucking bust my balls and I'm saving their asses, he's going to look even worse.
Yeah, it's like I was telling you, like, because, there's that big thing about, on the walkie when you're at work, like, if they ask for locations, it's either, the on-set key or one of the keys answers, but if no one answers, just fucking go for it.
Just go for it. Yeah, see, I didn't know this.
Like,
Chain of command, right? I'm like, fuck.
Because if they're not answering, like, because, normally what will happen is they ask for locations a couple times and the on-set key doesn't answer, then the ALM will come in, and then fucking if I've got to come in and fucking be like, why the fuck aren't you answering your radio?
Yeah.
I've never say it like that, but if that was like the kind of issue that happened, that'd be a big issue. But if it's like, if you get to the point where they're asking for you, like, let's say I left set for like 5 hours or something like that, working on another fucking location for us, I come back, and they weren't asking for Patty anymore.
Yeah.
If they were asking for Quinn, or if they were asking for Jill, I'd think, well, first of all, I think that Patty went home sick.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
But it'd be like, it'd be a big, that's why they asking for Jill. Like, especially if, like, let's say if I came back and Patty was like having a smoke or something, they're like, hey, Jill, locations.
Yeah.
It's like, Patty, you gonna spell off? Like, what?
Yeah.
Because they've been asking for somebody else the entire time when I've specifically hired you
to be that person.
This is your wheelhouse. This is your job. This is your area.
Yeah.
I think, long story short, you fucked them pretty good.
Okay.
Because that's now a conversation. Like, let's say if you'd come to me and been like, hey, Patty's not, I can't work with him.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, fuck, what?
Yeah.
Which was funny because with this guy, I knew exactly why no one wanted to work with him because he's a horny little weirdo. But you can't, I can say it now because I'm off the clock. But I was just laughing so much in the office. I was like, holy fucking Christ. It's like grade 12 at the fucking dance, and it was two guys who didn't have dates and were fighting over a girl who came from out of town or something like that. and it was just like, they were about to fight, for fuck's sake.
It was insane.
It was so funny.
It was so high school and kind of amazing. It was just like,
I felt like I was back in 2009, like fucking, Jimmy's fucking making out with the girl I like. I'm gonna beat the fuck out. Jesus Christ.
Do what's great. I actually got the opportunity to shit on him to the TAL, the ALM, the first AD, and the PM. And not even by going out of my way, by them coming to me and saying, what the fuck is going on with locations? Like, I didn't approach any of these people.
That's really bad if the PM's down there.
Yeah. So this is what happened. Like, my first day, I get there. I've not worked the bell ever in my life. I don't know what it is or where it is. But I turn up, and I'm like, I haven't been able to find Chad for 3 hours, calling him nothing. I find my own walkie. I'm on Channel 1, and I hear them going, like, we need a bell. And I'm like, fuck, where's the bell? Where's the bell? And then the first AD has to come over and ring it himself. And then I run over like, hey, man, like, sorry, I don't know what's going on. I can't contact my keys. My first day on this set. Can you show me how to ring the bell, and I'll do it for you? At this point, I have no idea this is the first AD I'm talking to. And he looks over at me, and after I give him this whole story of, like, I can't contact my keys, my first day, I don't know what's going on, he kind of just smiles and goes, okay, like, this is how you do the bell. And I was like, thank you so much. What's your name? He's like, my name's so-and-so. I was like, what's your department? He goes, I'm the first AD. And I was like, oh, fuck. The first AD. And when he realized I didn't know who he was, that's when he believed my story. It was like, oh, fuck, this is a shit show.
Yeah, and you can still, like, you're still at the point where you can just be like, look, I've only got, like, 30 days. Like, or whatever, 40 days, whatever, however many.
But I was just like, days. Dude, teach me how to ring this bell. I will be your fucking bell guy for 15 hours, and you can rely on me. Just show me how to do it. And I did. And then right after that, they're like, locations, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, this guy pops on. He's like, oh, sorry, there's only one of us on set, which wasn't true. There was 3 of us. So right after that, the Tal calls me. He's like, are you not on set? I just heard on Channel 1 that there's only one of you on set. I'm like, nope, he's a liar. That's not true. There's 3 of us. He hasn't communicated with any of us. She was like, oh my God. Anyways, like 5 minutes later, another thing fucks up, and the PM comes over to me and is like, what is going on with locations? I get to be like, everything's a nightmare. He's not doing his job. I'm doing my job. I'm the bell guy. The bell is being run. He's like, fair enough, man. But like literally, I got to shit on him to 5 different higher-ups. Just because he wasn't doing his job. I'm
glad you're finding something in film you like. Yeah. You know, some people, you know, they really like the kind of the artistry of it. You know, the behind the scenes look, you know, getting glimpses of slow. I'm really glad that you found someone to give you podcast material.
I mean, my podcast took off the moment I got the last film job you gave me. Yeah. Literally, it gave me so much content and so much time to figure out what I was going to say. They really took off.
Yeah, I've just been writing terrible jokes in my spare time.
Yeah.
And with the little spare time I had where I wasn't just eating McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Like, the only joke I wrote in the past 2 months was,
Say it.
Do you know all pigeons die after they have sex?
Really?
Well, the one I fucked did.
That's the one joke you wrote.
That's it. That's
not bad.
It's not even my style. It's a one-liner.
You know what? You should give that to Morris.
Nah, you just wait for me to do it. I'll do that one. I don't think I need to give Morris any jokes.
Now we're getting into the realm of other comedians. I think we should wrap this up because we've just done fucking like an hour and a half on film.
Was that an hour and a half?
Something like that.
Close. Oh, we didn't even get to comedy at all.
We didn't get to comedy at all.
Do you like comedy?
I fucking love comedy.
All right, man. Me too. Good. We
good.
Touched base on it.
Thank you. Is there anything you want to plug?
Go to Ghost Comic on YouTube. It's Vibrant Studios. It's a YouTube channel. It's go to haunted houses and do comedy for ghosts.
And you are going to be debuting a podcast soon. Is that correct?
Not a podcast. It's going to be a series of guided meditations that are comedic in nature.
For real?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We should have talked about that, but we're like.
I'll come back.
Okay, good. Fuck yeah. Well, thanks for coming, bro.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do this again, and thanks for. If you've enjoyed my podcast for the last 5 episodes, most of the good content came from this man giving me a job on a film set. So, thanks, Richie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be the first guest.
Yeah, no worries, bud.